What's up, YouTube? It's Jordan Stupar. Welcome back to my channel. I greatly appreciate you being here. I encourage you to hit the subscribe button now because you're going to want more updates, insights, and sales-related content. Today, I want to talk to you about e-learning. I want to talk to you about online sales training, and I want to show you 6 ways that you can ensure and make sure that the online sales training program that you have for yourself or your team is actually working. Regardless of what you do, you've probably searched online, bought a course for something, whether it's to learn how to grill chicken or brisket or become a grill master, or possibly to fix your own air conditioning unit because the HVAC company is too expensive. Maybe you want to save a little dough, or you just want to learn how to become handy. That's what I'm working on. And chances are that as you figure out how to do stuff using video-based content like the video you're watching right now, chances are that you've had a pretty good idea of measuring whether or not what you're learning is actually effective. If you watch the HVAC air conditioning video on how to fix your air conditioning unit, either your air conditioning unit is going to work or it's not. It's easy to figure out if what you're watching is working or not. And obviously, if you're watching the Grill Master course on how to make juicy brisket and you end up making juicy brisket, then you know that what you're watching is effective, actionable, and of course, you know that it's actually working because you got the result that you were looking to get. However, when it comes to sales and sales training, it can be a little bit hazy, a little blurry to figure out exactly how effective what you're learning applies to what it is that you're actually doing. Maybe you just said the wrong thing to the right person, or you watched a video, learned something new, and did it correctly on the wrong person and didn't get the result that you were actually looking for. Sometimes you might be scratching your head wondering if what you're watching and what you're learning is actually working for you. Today, I'm gonna make sure that whatever sales program you're using, whether it's a big guru or just somebody on down the street in your town, I wanna make sure that it's working for you because I want to make sure that you're successful. So here's my 6 tips and 6 ways of knowing that your sales training is actually working. I just saw a report from a group called Sales Alliance that reported that 85% of sales managers across different types of countries and different industries across different markets say that their companies don't offer the right amount of sales training. And so I think that's a big problem. So the first way to make sure that your online, continuous, ongoing sales development and training is actually working is to have a sales training platform or program to use. If you don't have one, then I can guarantee it's not going to work. So that would be number 1, is definitely get some type of sales training platform to use. That would make sense. The second way to make sure that whatever sales training program you're using is working for you and your team is to make sure that you actually have it on a schedule, that you actually have some time allocated on a regular basis to train and consume the content. I get that sales training is not a sexy thing. You know, trying to figure out how to talk to people and close deals and handle objections, write out cold calls, follow up, negotiation, all that stuff. I understand that it's not the sexiest thing to learn, but I will say this, is that if you're not actually scheduling in some time to train, you're just not gonna do it, because training and watching videos is pretty easy, but it's just a little bit easier to not. So make sure you schedule some time. The third way to make sure that online sales training content is working for you and your team is to make sure that you never, ever, ever binge on the content. Yes, I know it can be a little bit tempting to pop open your Instagram, slide over to the story, and at 1 o'clock in the morning say that you've been watching sales development content for 4 straight hours. Truth is, you're just a dummy for doing that, because you're literally going to forget most of what it is that you watch while you're learning. So it doesn't really make sense to binge. You're never going to be able to actually retain all the information that you're watching or consuming. And of course, if you can't retain it, you're never going to be able to apply it, and therefore it's not going to work for you. So it's important to take little bite-sized segments of content that you can use to actually improve your skills. Now that you're aware that online sales training is not the walking dead and you shouldn't be binging on it, it brings me to point number 4 to make sure that your online sales training efforts are working for you and your team. team is to make sure that when you're watching the video content, once you hear that golden nugget or that thing that gets you excited or that one piece of actionable information that you are excited to use, stop the video, stop learning, shut it off, and immediately go and practice that thing that you heard so that you can duplicate it with customers when it actually matters. The fifth way to make sure that the online sales training program that you choose works for you is to make sure that you train and consume content on a frequent basis. Nothing would be worse than only watching a video or only attempting to learn something once a month or once a week. You're just not going to consume enough golden nuggets or actionable advice or tips or insights to actually make a difference in your sales career. So it's important that you make sure to, again, schedule some time on a daily basis or at least Monday through Friday when you're doing work. It's good to have that content fresh in your head on a daily basis. The sixth and final way to make sure that your sales training efforts actually pay dividends is to train consistently. Now that you've set up a schedule and you are training frequently, it's important that you don't just quit after like a week or 2 weeks. It'd be like trying to lose 50 pounds, but you only lost 5 and you feel good about it, so you're just gonna stop. Of course, you're not getting the result that you really went out to get. You're just not being consistent enough to get the result that you want. Sales training, same deal. If you're not consistent with it and you're not frequent with it, you're not going to get the results that you actually want. So if you're not going to have a schedule, if you do plan on binging, if you do plan on actually just plowing through a bunch of content and you're not doing it frequently and not doing it consistently, then by all means, don't get any sales training program because it's just not going to work for you. It's also important to note that it's going to take a little bit of time to develop new skills, especially sales skills, because you have to practice and you have to have interactions and talk to customers and do drilling and role playing. So be a little bit patient as you're developing these skills. You wouldn't expect to just magically pick up a guitar and know what to do because you watched a video once or twice. You wouldn't necessarily know exactly what to do in a new sport without having practiced it. So understand, this thing is going to take a little bit of time regardless, and it's important to have a little bit of patience. The final little tip that I have for you is to make sure that the sales training program you're using features up-to-date and relevant content that's actually applicable to today's marketplace. Yes, there are a lot of very successful, great salespeople that have made courses. However, those people are a little bit older. They were actually experiencing success back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And guys, if you try to duplicate the same approach that people were using back in the 80s to have success in today's marketplace, I can guarantee you one thing. You're not going to get the results that you're actually looking for, which is exactly why I've taken a lot of time out of my life to create an expansive library of content in just the last year or two to help salespeople understand how sales has evolved and how to crush sales in today's ever-changing and evolving marketplace. Go to stuparsalesacademy.com, get signed up, and I will be happy to welcome you to the most comprehensive, most relevant, and most up-to-date sales training platform on the planet.